Good morning. Let me get daily reflections up here. What am I doing? Oh, okay. This is the chat link. That's I wanted to get. Oh, good morning, Ethan. Share screen. Daily reflection. Share. I want to check my audio is working. Let me check that just a second here. I think it should be. A little bouncy ball. Yeah. I think we're good. I see my picture, so they need to come up with a better way of having audio feedback. I want to put me over here. Where is that one? There it is. Good. Yeah, I'll talk about the grandkids after I do the daily reflection. Um, oh, no, add it to stage. There we go. Hit the wrong thing. Daily reflection. Today is January 6th, the victory of surrender. We perceive that only through utter defeat are we able to take our first steps toward liberation and strength. Our admissions of personal powerlessness finally turn out to be firm bedrock upon which happy and purposeful lives may be built. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 21. When alcohol influenced every facet of my life, when bottles became the symbol of all my self-indulgence and permissiveness, when I came to realize that by myself I could do nothing to overcome the power of alcohol, I realized I had no recourse except surrender. In surrender, I found victory, victory over my selfish self-indulgence, victory over my stubborn resistance to life as it was given to me. When I stopped fighting anybody or anything, I started on the path to sobriety, serenity, and peace. That is so, that is so, it seems contradictory when we perceive that only through utter defeat are we able to take our first steps toward liberation and strength. Our admissions of personal powerlessness finally turn out to be firm bedrock upon which happy and purposeful lives may be built. I guess the key to it is this part down below. I came to realize by myself I could do nothing to overcome the power of alcohol. I was thinking about that by myself thing. I had a really nice day yesterday, busy, and I was managing the 5-year-old and the 2-year-old by myself from the time they woke up until about about 11 o'clock in the morning, and I think it went okay. We had a few small crisis situations, but um, they actually they actually um, get along well together with each other, the two children, and that helped a lot. And um, everything worked out all right. So yeah, at the anti-current spirit of our culture, that's true. Um, I have two situations in my life that I feel like, I really would rather focus on that if I were like rich, and I didn't have to work and these kinds of things. There are two kind of things going on that I wish I could participate more in. One of them is I live too far away from my grandchildren. I wish I was closer. And the other one is my mother is getting older and my sister is taking care of her. Now, both of those are being managed by people that are better at it than I am. So it's actually working out much better than if I were in control. And so it's not an unhappy situation. Um, as I've gone through life, I've discovered that the insistence on taking taking control is something that sometimes needs to be indulged, but lots of times needs to be suppressed. And it's not always easy to know which one is which, but circumstances and um, circumstances have been the main thing that have kind of built things the way they are, and prioritizing because I have other priorities, believe it or not, that I need to attend to that I'm really the only person that can do it. So it's an interesting thing. I come out and visit here, or I was in Iowa visiting with my elderly mother, and I'm like, oh, I want to do more there, um, but that's not my role. And like I say, the people that are doing it are doing a wonderful job. So it's this temptation to, jump in and grab the wheel. And no, no, don't do that. At least not for me, not in these cases. So anyway, I was boss for half a day yesterday, and it looks like I'll probably be doing the same thing today. And it worked out okay. Everybody survived, but they were really happy when their mom got home from work. So that was really nice. Let's see here. Good morning to Ethan, and good morning to Olson. And yeah, yesterday was fun. It was the grandson's birthday party in the evening, and so his uncles and grandma from the other side of his family were there, and we liked talking to them. And then they had, oh, my daughter and her parties. She put up streamers, and she had a special cake made, which she knows a cake person, and she has these connections. And so what did we do? We were playing a video game, and the in-laws came over, and then they were playing a game, and we finished up the video game, and then we made individual pizzas, and we were putting together pizzas, and the granddaughter, 2-year-old, was stuffing pepperoni in her mouth. And then we ate our little pizzas, and then we had cake, and then they opened presents, and then the in-law grandmother, she had bought a piñata, and so he was like, oh, we're going to do the piñata. So um, he did the piñata, and we cleaned up after that. The piñata was very well built, so it took some effort, but anyway, it was a lot of fun. And by the end of the day, he had a pile of toys, and he's I can brag on my grandson a little bit. I can actually brag on his parents because they've done a really good job in raising him. And um, his sister was messing with his toys, and he wasn't, overly possessive, and yeah, all sorts of these dangers that can happen when there's um, siblings and family and all that. We didn't have any problems at all. It was great. I really enjoy it. Enjoyed being there. Some of the reason it's so great is because I am not in charge, and so it worked out really good. I'm gonna do the half day on my own thing, probably. I am doing it today. I don't know how long there I'll be there on my own, but I am doing that again today, and that'll be fun. So I don't have a lot of grandchildren, but the ones I've got are really high quality. Am I allowed to say that? I think so. Uh, let's see. I didn't do a lot of YouTube yesterday because I was over at their house at 5:30 in the morning, and I didn't go anywhere or do anything else until about 7 in the evening. And we did a couple small errands, and then we're back at the, yeah, quality over quantity. We're back at the Airbnb, and that was it for the day. So it was a full day. There's a complication in modern parental life that I did not have when I was a parent, and that is the baby seats. And that's a good thing, but like you have to have the car that can handle children. And so um, if if you're going to have the children, and you either have the car that can take children someplace, or you're just not going anywhere. And it was just easier yesterday. I didn't have any place I needed to go, so we stayed around the house, and 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 enjoyed puttering around and with their toys and that kind of stuff. Okay, Olson, let's see here. Add to stage. Okay, and I got to get your face up there. Good morning.
Morning.
Uh,
Morning. I gotta stop by early today because I gotta get out by 6. So I gotta early out today. So I gotta get it stop in earlier.
All right. How's the laundry going?
uh, it's going well. I'm a little behind actually. My son needs some stuff, so I actually got to get it done for this morning. And so because of where our laundry's placed, it's in the basement, which is usual down here, and then um with my wife's health issues and stuff, I actually end up doing most of the laundry for the family. And
Uh-huh.
so yep, I gotta get done. I'd washed his load, a couple days ago, but I just hadn't had a chance to fold it yet. So
All
gotta get
right.
he's needing pants.
All right.
But yeah, I think that devotion or not devotion. I always call it devotion. I forget, but the thought of the day,
Daily reflection. Yeah.
daily reflection. Yeah, that one. That was good. I like that one. I
The
like yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, the I don't know what I was trying to say. The I guess I was it's hard to read it and understand exactly where the key of it is, I think, but it looks like the I'm not the person for the job is kind of the key to it to me is that this is not something I can this is not something that I can do. And in some situations, me being there trying to do is actually the wrong thing that should be happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that fits in with the bigger picture of AA. You know, they have their serenity prayer where they're trying to divide the things that they can fix and the things that they can't fix. And so
Yeah.
they kind of have that, there's kind of that thread through the AA system, through the AA story. So I think that's the way to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really appreciated your insight with your talk about those different situations where you're like, man, I really want to be here. Really want to be a part of helping with this. But at the same time, that's not where God's called you.
Right.
And so I one of my favorite. If you'll hear me talk about this story all the time because I think it had such a big impact on my life. Just like the one like when Jesus heals Legion, right? He the guy wants to follow him, and Jesus like no, like being with my merry band of goodness pirates is is not what you're called to do right now.
Yeah.
You gotta go back to your village and tell them. and and I think that was harder. Like that was the harder course for that guy at that time. It would have been
Yeah, I
easier
think it
for
would
him
be.
to run away and to be next to Jesus, this savior that cleansed them of something he couldn't do, and to be there. But instead, the harder thing was to go back to these people he had terrorized for. It doesn't say how long he terrorized them, but he was terrorizing them by being. They tried to shackle him and things like that. So to go back to that place where he had wrought destruction, because of the destruction in his life. Jesus says you need to go back and you need to make amends there. Tell him what Jesus has done for you. You know.
Yeah.
So I just see that. I see that in this thing where it's like you gotta. We're not. It's not. We can't overcome some of these things.
Oh, my alarm is going off here. I better turn that off.
So, anyways, but
I had that set in case I didn't wake up in time. So I'm ahead of the game. I'm doing good.
yeah, yeah, we're doing great this morning. We're on and kicking. Yeah, so I think that's and like I said, it's like a antithesis to our spirit of the culture. At least what I was raised in, and I think has continued. Right, they're like, you do you, you be like you could do it. The hope is inside of you, you know, the salvation is inside of you kind of mentality. Like that's what I grew up with in, you know, the public sphere. And I'm just like, no, that's not, like I can't get it out of me. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that a second. There's this kind of modern picture, and it really comes strong in the um, kind of socialism philosophy that people are interchangeable. That that yeah, I'm not even sure that's the right way to say it. That you could take on whatever role is necessary, and
Mm.
maybe that's just the independence thing that you can accomplish it yourself, and that wouldn't really be socialism's problem. So I might be laying that at the feet of the wrong philosophy.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, like
That's
you
that's that show
exactly.
I've been watching where like
Yeah.
everybody knows everything, and the guy with the DHL outfit becomes the surgeon, and it's like
Jesus.
everyone is completely interchangeable, and we do have a little bit of that in our, at least I can see some of that
Hmm.
in the philosophy of our culture.
Hmm.
But there's also that find your niche kind of thing, which is
Hmm.
also going on at the same time,
Hmm.
and then the the like the scary part is when you're a kid growing up and they expect you to kind of excavate that yourself, and it's like,
Hmm.
how would you even know? Like your first job is to turn out to be an expert, figure out who I am person. It's like,
Yeah.
how are you even supposed to know how to do that? Like it's
Right.
supposed to magically happen to you or something.
Yeah. That's such a good point. Yeah. And I think our the the evolution of our institutions has not kept up with the evolution of our culture. And it used to be like we could find help, our institutions could help form those ideas and our understanding, I think. And then
Well, and family too, because
yeah.
you have, if you saw the kind of work that your parents did and you participated in that, and then you might end up getting some um, reinforcement of, what we're good at kind of thing.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, and so many people were in agriculture, you know, and
Yeah,
so
that's true.
you're just kind of, we're gonna keep doing that agriculture.
Yeah. OSK is going to town in the comments here. She's pounding on these Christians who only want to pray to Jesus. It's like,
Oh,
well, okay, that is a fundamental part.
oh,
So we are looking for help from outside. That's because one of the tenets of Christianity is that you cannot do it yourself. You're not up to the task. So you need outside help.
yeah. Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, it's weird that it's both by saying anybody could become anything, right? It makes everybody interchangeable, but at the same time it also makes us hyper individual.
Yeah.
So you kind of have that dichotomy there. But in both cases, you don't have like rootedness and belonging, right? Those are set aside, skewed for what for individualism. And yeah, I don't know where I'm rambling on that one, but
Yeah, that's an interesting issue because we have the economy wants everything to be differentiated. So
mhm,
you have to differentiate something to make it um, noticeable. And notice, attention. We're really into attention, and so to
mhm,
get attention, you have to differentiate yourself. But to be um, Oh, what was the first one? There was that thing that you said we're all interchangeable.
Hmm.
So there's demand to be interchangeable, but also demand to be differentiated.
Hmm.
Is
Right.
that true? I feel like I'm
Oh yeah, I think you're hitting
kind of
on
just
something. I think
spouting.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I think you're refining what I was thinking, which made me think of further where it's like society, like occupationally, we say by being whatever we could be, whatever you want to be, we're all interchangeable. But at the same time, then internally or individually, we're then saying, uh, you have to differentiate yourself in whatever way possible so that people take notice of you.
Yeah. Yeah, we and I've noticed in like just kind of the world of occupations that the occupations that are they are respected, but they're not very well rewarded are the ones that take very long-term view. So if you're someone who's like tending the water treatment plant, you
Hmm.
you you're a very important person in making sure that daily things happen and that other people can go about their lives. But it's not if you don't get attention in some way, your position will become questionable whether that's even necessary to have someone doing that. And
Hmm.
so there's this gap where, well, I live in Mississippi, and one of the issues that's been plaguing Mississippi for a while is our state capital is Jackson, Mississippi, and the water um, utility that was owned by the city was so poorly managed because they just didn't pay attention to it because it was just like always there, and over years it was neglected and eventually fell apart, and then they've been slowly kind of getting it put back together, and it's been very painful. And so they're learning that not having the guy at the water treatment plant is turns out to be really bad.
Yeah, yeah,
And I guess it would be the manager of the water treatment people that's supposed to make enough noise to do the, so there has to be an attention element in there somewhere. And I
hmm,
think it's the managers that have to do the attention job, but I'm not sure about that.
right.
So,
But what makes a
yeah,
person a good manager of a water treatment place doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be a good uh like not cheerleader, but a good voice of like what they need. Like
right.
those are two different skill sets.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd have to impress people with the importance of un, of a uninteresting aspect of the technology that we live in.
Hmm.
Power plants are kind of the same thing,
Hmm.
and um, home repair and some other stuff that's just kind of boring and people expect it to be done.
Hmm.
But if you don't, if you don't give it the attention it needs, things can go bad pretty quickly.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I guess that's an interest. Recently I heard like on in economics there's this idea that it's easier for countries and cities or states or whatever to catch up to other high achieving economically speaking countries and states because the cost into infrastructure initially like helps that boost, but then
Yeah,
once you reach a certain level of infrastructure, the cost of maintenance outstrips the amount of money you could put into advancing new infrastructure,
yeah,
and then so it slows that advancement.
yeah, that makes sense. So like some country in Africa that doesn't never had a hardline telephone system now will have telephones everywhere because of cell phones come in.
Hmm.
But then the you have to have like a layer of technical experts to build that out and maintain it. And I
Hmm.
think I don't know that much about international economics, but I think a lot of countries that are doing the catch up like that will outsource that to another country to come in and supply that layer of technology that they don't have. So I don't know, maybe their cell phone repairman is Chinese or French or something like that to keep everything up and running. And that works okay until they start looking around and all of everything's controlled by the Chinese or the French, and they say, well, we should be able to do this. And so they kick out the Chinese and the French, and pretty soon the cell phones start not working anymore. And then you've got trouble. And they ran into that with the Venezuela thing where they kicked out the oil technology people. And eventually, it's kind of a long slide, but eventually they can't pump the oil out of the ground anymore, even though they're a rich country.
Yeah.
They needed to send Venezuelans off to oil technology school and build that internal knowledge up so that they had it themselves.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Chris, I gotta get going. But thanks for letting me process all that. That was good. I think that was really helpful. So.
Okay. Well, I hope your day goes well.
All right. Thanks. You too. Good luck
See you
with the
later.
grandkids. All right. Bye.
Bye. And OSK. Oh, you're going to jump on here. Okay. I haven't been reading everything you said, so I need to catch up a little bit. Okay. I don't know about his videos to us. And you're on, so you can talk if you want to, as far as I know.
Oh no, I actually enjoy you processing things, so I'm quite happy to wait here with you and deal with any questions or comments that you want to raise while you're reading them. I do actually enjoy you processing your thoughts.
Okay.
I know I shouldn't rush you.
Religion is systems maintenance. That's an interesting idea. Religion is systems maintenance. Yeah, I could kind of see that. I can kind of see that. And if your religion is not helping you maintain your systems, then you've got some gaps you need to cover. The long-term view is afterlife. That's true, but that's not unused. That has its purpose. Well, I think it's true, but even that, it has a psychological purpose so that you're not required to complete everything necessary that you want to accomplish during your lifetime. If there's afterlife, that means, if you think, oh, I must do this, oh, I must do that. One thing it does is it relieves you of the burden of having your bucket list unfulfilled, or the vengeance necessary to wreak revenge on the historical enemies of your family or whatever. That's not necessary if there's some outside judgment going on and you aren't required to do all that yourself.
Well, I think I've heard it said by Muslims that this life is an examination hall, and then once they put it like that, then it makes clear what our purpose is to do, which is to pass the exam, presumably to get to the better place, because there could be no other purpose than to get to the better place, because we have no choice if we have eternal life and immortal souls.
So one of the issues I have with official secular Quranism is that no one actually treats the Quran the way you do. How is it that you've come to this kind of unique position of seeing it having non-religious value, where the countries that actually are based on Quranic systems don't do that? They're all very much infused with religion and the structures of it. So where did they go wrong, or have they gone wrong?
Oh, you asked this wonderful question that I was hoping somebody would ask. So, and you ask it as an American, because the crucial difference really is the difference between a republic and a monarchy. And the Gulf states are Gulf kingdoms, and they are absolute monarchies. And this means that any Islamic scholar would be in terror of being imprisoned, exiled, or
Okay.
executed for having a wrong interpretation of the Quran, i.e., an interpretation that displeased the absolute monarch. And this is
Well,
actually,
that's reasonable.
well, yes, and William Tyndale, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he was Justice Tudor translator of the Bible, and Henry VIII, when he was Catholic, had him executed because he wouldn't budge on the translation of certain words. But all he did was want to translate the Bible so that even the ploughboy could read it in his own language. But the
Right.
Catholic Church wasn't having any of that because it took away
So,
their power.
okay. Well, you really haven't asked my question then is why are you like a prophetic person? Are you proclaiming something that hasn't been proclaimed before?
Well, I don't see why it should be such a new thing because, you know, the American Revolution was about rejecting the
Well, it
the
was kind of a
governance of George
right. It
III.
was kind of a rise of what would we call them? The business that the business class person, right? Above the they didn't really have the culture or the what's the right word? Oh, my words are not coming this morning. They didn't have a strict class-based system being in a I could be wrong here too, because you probably have better handle on this than I do. In the colonies, things were more compressed, and they didn't have that kind of stratification that they would have had back in the Britain in England, and so the mercantile types, I think, kind of rejected. Well, also they were rejected by the ruling types back home, and that was kind of don't you see, or maybe I'm off base. I think that kind of drove the American Revolution, the kind of the rise of the mercantile class to and they're kind of more general purpose since there's less people, more people end up filling more roles, and it was kind of a general overthrow of the class system. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Well, I mean, the official reason from my children's potted history of the American Revolution was a Boston Tea Party, and the Americans saying no, no taxation without
The taxation representation thing.
And I thought that's actually that can't be the real reason for Americans to rebel about taxes. And then I seem to hear
I don't
a
think
lot
that
of
was the whole picture, but yeah, they didn't like being controlled from a remote place that was ignoring them, I think.
yes, and imposing taxes, but don't we all in every country of the world complain about our taxes? But
Yeah.
I think the point was that, well, afterwards I noticed a lot of people talking about the founding fathers being Freemasons, and there was just this hint of anti-Semitism in it, like they were kind
Well, that's
of
true.
Jews.
Somehow we've gotten lost track, though. How did we get off to the American Revolution from secular
Because I
Koreanism?
was talking about the fact that because I was saying that there's a theological reason behind it, because
Oh, okay.
if anything about Freemasons at all, it's supposed to be about Jews, Christians, and Muslims, and anyone who believes in a creator joining a fraternity to help each other. Isn't that the official purpose of Masonry?
I don't know anything about
That
Masonry.
you can only join if
I mean, I really
being a
don't. I don't know
Freemason
anything about it. I don't know anything about it. I
right, but the
understand
idea
it's
is that you
a group. Yeah.
well, if you ever come to London, there's Freemasons Hall, and you can get a free guide, a free
Okay.
tour of it, and they say you have to at least believe in a creator and be a man of good character before you can join, and so this means that Jews, Christians, and Muslims could be joining this fraternity in order to make the world a better place, and and I suppose the founding fathers were able to make their revolutionary plans was because Masonry protected them, and they were able to make their to plot revolution in peace and without being denounced. Because if they'd gone to,
Okay.
I don't know, a tavern or something, as one
Okay.
does.
Okay. So that gave them an environment for conspiracy to some degree. Yeah, well, I could see that, a cover for their conspiracy. All right. Well, how did we get to the American Revolution? Because I was asking about why no secular Koranism exists now, and that got us to monarchy, and that the people that interpret the Quran were limited because the monarchs would only let them say the things they wanted to hear, and Christianity, the same thing. You're right. I followed that. Okay. And I think I asked if your position was like a new insight or if it's just hasn't been tried, or I don't know. I'm trying to figure out.
I don't see why it should be a new insight, because being educated men, the founding fathers would, resent being told to follow the king's religion, which is what European subjects of absolute monarchs had to do. I mean, to this day, I know this woman in Iceland who said, whenever we give birth to our children are presumed to be Lutheran.
Yeah.
And we have to
Now,
actually opt out of it.
there was
to
kind
say
of a
no.
breakage in that in the North America because of the mixture of people, even from the beginning, because you had Dutch colonies and you had French colonies and you had British colonies, and by the time they were breaking away from England, I think the control had all kind of settled into England, but the actual individual states still had that kind of history where they had their own, they were actually, at least some of them were fleeing from that, they were pilgrims or Quakers or whatever they were that had no home. Their religious ideas had no home in the old world.
Yes, and they would fight each other. In Philadelphia, there were anti-Catholic riots, and the
Sure.
Quakers and the Puritans would kill each other because they.
Oh, a little bit, not as much as in Europe, but they did a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I think the Quakers would be kept under control because the Church of England would be saying, no, we're going to be kicking you around, anyone who wasn't Anglican, and there would be anti-Catholic riots, etc.
Yeah. I wonder if that was one of the issues that led to the revolution, is that the Church of England wasn't as strong in North America as it actually was in England. If they had a heavier hand, they might have been able to keep a lid on some of that. But I think there was actually a lot of religious pluralism, not to the extent of Protestant pluralism, not to the extent of Muslim, Jewish, and Catholic kind of on the edge. But at least Protestantism had a lot of different things going on.
Well, I suppose, I mean, imagining myself as an early American, it would be, well, we're in the new world now. You haven't had you haven't imposed all your networks of control the way you did in the old world, and
Right.
probably there was more of a tendency to say, who made you the boss? What are you going to do about it if I do
That's
what
true.
I want to do?
Yeah. You see that in Australia too, right? I mean, Australia is even farther away from the home. And
yes, the emperor is far away.
Yeah.
It's an old Chinese expression anyway.
Yeah.
But you see that I think the whole point of it is that being educated men of the Enlightenment, which basically gave this idea of empiricism, because science is about empiricism, which is basically saying, I'll believe it when I see it, when it is proven to me in some scientific experiment that will keep giving the same result. I'll believe that when I see it. So when you say that God exists, etc.,
Right.
well,
right.
There's no evidence.
They're looking
blah,
for
blah, blah.
experimental.
And all the arguments, the usual
Well,
arguments.
you have a high barrier. The secular Quranistic sales project has a high hurdles. One is that the people that use the Quran now are pretty convinced that they've got things right, and So convincing them that they're doing it wrong, at the same time, convincing other people that don't like the way the way the Quranic interpreters have been doing things, are also inclined to reject your thesis and drop whatever they're working on to come over to the Quran in the secular mode. Maybe can you point to any culture that has gotten close to what you would like to see? I mean, like maybe under the secularization of the Shah of Iran or something. I have no idea. I don't know that much about Quranic cultures. Has anybody ever gotten close to trying the thing that you want to try?
Well, I would say in Islam, it would be the Republic of Iran, because at least they are A, a republic, B, have an independent foreign policy, which America wants to remove, and, you know, be like the other Islamic states of the world who, you know, bend to the American imperium. So, and you know, they are the countries. Sorry, the countries with an independent foreign policy are the ones that get a bad press in Western media, such as Russia, China, and Iran, and probably Afghanistan.
Well, where do you put
North
Pakistan?
Korea.
Where do you put Pakistan and all of that? Because Pakistan actually kind of is friendly to the United States, and they are Islamic, and they're not really monarchic, and they're not really run by the clerics. So I'm not sure, where do they fit in there?
Well, if you're a liberal, if you're a representative democracy, you are under the control of America, and this would include Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, because there's actually a kind of Hollywood joke about the CIA controlling the world through color revolutions and rigging their elections.
I'm still after trying to find some flavor of what you like, and see if where is anybody doing anything close to what you would like to see happen?
No. But obviously, if it's going to happen, it should happen in the world's most powerful country, and that would be America.
No, I don't think that's obvious at all. I mean, that's where you want it to happen.
Yeah. I mean, it should happen to the country that is in a position to, you know, make its vassal states follow suit. And, you know, Saudi Arabia now celebrates Halloween. Britain has been celebrating Halloween, which is an American tradition for years now.
Yeah.
And the Saudis made a big thing of celebrating Halloween, which is, you know, an implied acceptance of the of American culture, and, you know, music festivals.
That's true. It's really weird that why do people do that? Because I don't think Americans really participate. Really, well, how can I speak for Americans? The Americans I know we like that, you know, Sweden has Sweden's own traditions. We don't particularly want to go to Sweden and eat at KFC. That's not what Americans want, you know? I mean, they kind of do. They don't want to go and eat strange food that, you know, it's all squids and ushi stuff, you know? But we also don't want everything to be all McDonald's and KFC, you know? So, yeah, I don't know why does everything have to be Americanized? I don't know the answer to that. I don't think it's the Americans' fault necessarily. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is the guys who are selling KFC. I mean, they want to sell KFC everywhere, right?
But I mean, this is a problem. I mean, we all know the Americans are not agreed on everything. You know,
that's definitely true.
And there's a Republican, and now MAGA has split. So Marjorie Taylor Greene was saying, "Oh, but Trump, MAGA means not starting more wars," and Trump saying, "You know, MAGA is what I mean.
Yeah,
you know, say it means." And I'm president. I can say what you know.
Well, I wish you well in your project of secular Quranism, but I think it's going to be a really heavy lift. I'm not sure how you can make progress with that.
Deserve a proper religion that supports married fathers. isn't that what is necessary to stop the uncontrolled mass immigration? I mean, the truth is, feminism has reduced the birth rate of Westerners, and that's why all Western countries are complaining about immigration. They were imported for a reason. I don't think our ruling classes were doing it on purpose just to, upset and worry you. It's like, well, who's going to do the work if you're all claiming welfare and refusing
Okay.
to show up to work? And
There is some irony in all of this, that you have to go to a Christian country so you can preach secular Koreanism.
because it is
So
most in need of it. Because
no, it's
already,
because if you were doing this in downtown Tehran, they probably wouldn't let you say these things.
no, they say no thanks. We're already Muslim. We don't need your, weird
The secular part,
interpretation.
exactly. They don't want to do the secular part. So anyway, I
Well,
gotta
no,
go. I really
yes,
do. I have to do babysitting. I gotta go take my shower.
okay.
It's a joy
Well,
to talk to you and Olson this morning, and I gotta go. So I guess we'll do it again at some other
okay.
time. All right. Sorry, I have to cut
All
you
right.
off,
Have
but
a great day.
we get a little piece of
Bye.
it every time. So we're slowly hearing what you have to say. We'll see you all later.